All of our struggles, when you really, when I get overwhelmed, my guides whisper in my mind, go back to basics, go back to basics. Because when you try to think about, am I supposed to pray this way? Am I supposed to meditate that way? Am I doing this right? Am I doing that right? It gets so overwhelming because it's all right. It is indeed all correct. The guides have said that so many ways through so many different channels. There are no wrong paths. There's no wrong method. It's about the present moment. Whatever you can do in the present moment that makes your heart expand, that makes you feel that expanded love, that makes you feel that connectedness, that frequency puts us on the timeline that has all the wonderful health and the longevity and the vitality and the abundance of joy and the abundance of money and the abundance of people and relationships and friends. And that it is all about that frequency. It isn't like I have to zone in on the frequency called health and be like, I have to feel that I'm healthy. I'm really learning that that is not the case. It is, if I'm thinking about flying around on my unicorn, if it's raising my vibration, I am bringing to me all of those paths to all of the things that I want. Those are all collapsing to me.
I um I've been having this which I've been following you ever since Jeff Morrow, and I had a private session with you, and I'm reading your book and all that stuff, and I'm watching your YouTubes, and I'm practicing everything that you're sharing. But I've got some family issues, like the little bit of stressful stuff with my daughter, and I wake up every night and I feel my energy going into that fear mode and worrying and fear. And I try to breathe into my heart, get myself back to sleep,
Yeah.
and get out of that negative and that worry and just get in that heart space. And could you just give me a little advice about how to get that negative and that worry gone?
Absolutely, absolutely. Because we are all at the mercy of that. There's no question. All right, they're saying to talk about that, the aspect of the imagination, the power of the human imagination. That when we're laying in the wee hours of the morning, and the thought of our children and their problems, and the thought of the health issues, the thought of the, my God, fill in the blank of all the things that drop into our mind in those wee hours of the morning when we're the most vulnerable, or any time throughout the day, truly, that that thought of, you know, I'll use myself, I won't get specific. The thought of whatever, you get into your mind and you start using your imagination. Oh my gosh, what if they do this? What if that happens? Oh my gosh, what do I need to do to help them in that way? How could I do, what can I say that will help to trigger her to know how loved she is? How do I help this person to know their value? How? All of that is our imagination going, that's, it's like a spinning merry-go-round of making up scenarios that feel awful, that just feel awful. And we all know that it doesn't do a goddamn thing. It doesn't do a thing for the person. It doesn't do a thing for the situation. It takes our mental strength of will to grab those thoughts. And I even, there's two things I do. I holler Kelly, and I holler I do this like I would to my little dog. Bup, 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 bup. I'm in my head going bup, 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 to stop that friggin' twirl. You get it stopped, and then you do the grab, and you just cast it away with your power. Settle into the wonderful word sovereignty. You are sovereign with your energy, and you just created a twirl. You created a vortex of crap. And it is a real thing because it's a thought. Thought is energy, Energy attracts energy. Think of all the people laying at 3 o'clock in the morning worrying about something. It's a giant river going over your head and it grabs us. So you grab it, and with your strength of who you are, your sovereignty as the knowing that you are an extension of source energy, and you throw it down, throw it into the moat, throw it into the moat, and see those monsters roll with it and eat it all up, and then out, and it makes the flowers grow. And then you use your imagination the other way. If you can bring your daughter into the imagination, and you can picture whatever the situation that you'd love to see her, you picture her bursting into the house and being like, "Hey mom," and that spark in her eye and that joy. But sometimes we can't do that. Sometimes the worry is just too strong, and if we even think about the person, it just triggers it all again. So then you go to a sandbox. You go to a fantasy. A fantasy, you with your will, with your decision, you say, "I'm in control of my thinking. My thinking is not in control of me. And I'm going to use this beautiful gift of imagination that God gave me for my highest good. And I'm going to jump on one of Kelly's unicorns, and I'm going to look over at her as she's riding hers, and I'm going to ride mine, and we're going to fly off into the stars." And how silly and fun. Or you picture you've read my book, you picture that. I love the monkey process. The monkey process is you just, whatever the situation that's pissing you off or upsetting you, the monkeys are in there, and they show the egos driving I can see this in my mind. I'm so visual. But the monkeys driving the convertible with their hair blowing, and that monkey represents our ego. Our ego has taken control of our thinking. It's taken control of our experience, and we are in that moment we are at the mercy of the ego. And so you can't. For me, it's hard to go from that upset to joy. So I picture them damn monkeys in that convertible car. And then I picture them falling out of the car, and they're behind the car, and there's mud, and the car is spinning mud up, and the monkeys are fighting, and they're pushing each other's face into the mud, and they're whatever. But then I look over, as one of the monkeys myself, I look over and I see this beautiful, beautiful crystalline pond of energy. And there's monkeys over there too. And those monkeys, some monkeys are doing the backstroke, and some monkeys are doing somersaults off the diving board. And when they hit the water, it's this iridescent splash that just goes like bubbles forever. You let your mind take you down the path to this fantasy of joy, that we can splash each other with that beautiful knowing that all is well, that there's nothing in this moment for you to do besides do the backstroke in that friggin' water. Feel the water on your skin. Let it bring you into the present moment. Because when we are in the worry, we are everywhere except the present moment. So be in that present moment, and you do that with our senses. Feel the water on your skin. Feel the sun on your face, the breeze moving your hair. That's how you come into the present moment. Feel the bed. If you're in your bed, feel the bed on the back of you. That brings you, if you can connect to your senses, it will bring you closer to the present moment. And then you play in the fantasy of whatever will give you that happy thought, that wonderful day that you had that was so joyful and fun, that memory, that, or you create the memory. You create in your mind whatever it is.